When you hear high IQ society, what comes to mind first? Like some kind of secret club, maybe full of super geniuses solving mysteries.
Or maybe just people who are, really, really good at cryptic crosswords.
Huh, yeah, exactly. Well, today we're doing a deep dive into Mensa International. We're using excerpts from its Wikipedia entry as our main source material here.
Yep.
And our mission really is to unpack the real story behind this, the world's largest and oldest high IQ society. We want to get past the common ideas and maybe find some surprising facts, some insights into what it actually means to be part of it.
Absolutely. It's often quite different from how people imagine it, more than just a score.
Okay, let's unpack this then. Fundamentally, what is Mensa International?
So Mensa is the biggest and the oldest society of its kind globally. It's a nonprofit, and it's open to basically anyone who scores at the 98th percentile or higher.
The 98th percentile.
Yeah, on a standardized, supervised intelligence test. That threshold is really the defining feature. It's about a measurable cognitive ability.
Right, not just feeling smart. And the name itself, Mensa, it's Latin for table, isn't it?
It is, yeah. And that was chosen quite deliberately.
To give that image of a round table equals coming together.
Exactly. That was the idea behind it. A meeting of minds on an equal footing.
Does that round table idea really play out in practice, though? Or is there still a kind of, subtle hierarchy, maybe?
Well, the ideal is definitely that round table. The founders wanted it to be a place where intellectual equals could gather without worrying about social background, race, religion, anything like that.
Okay.
And just to give you a clearer sense of that 98th percentile, it generally means an IQ score of 130 or more on most major tests.
Like which ones?
Well, for instance, the Stanford Binet minimum score is 132.
Okay.
On the Cattell test, it's higher, 148. And for the Wechsler tests, which are pretty common, like the WAIS for adults, WISC for kids, the minimum is 130.
So 130 is kind of the benchmark for the most common ones.
It's essentially, yeah, top 2% of the population, cognitively speaking.
Got it. And it's interesting that American Mensa has its own test, but taking that only gets you in, right? Doesn't give you a comparable score.
That's right. It's purely for qualification. And in some countries, you only get one shot at their specific Mensa test.
Oh, really? Only one?
Yeah, but you can usually submit scores from other approved tests if you don't pass the Mensa one, or if you prefer.
Okay. And this isn't just a US or UK thing, is it? You mentioned it's global.
Oh, definitely. Mensa tests are available in quite a few developing countries, too. Places like Brazil, India, Indonesia, Pakistan. It shows how widespread it aims to be.
That's pretty accessible then. So we've got a handle on what Mensa is, the scores needed. Let's talk history. Where did it all start? This seems like it might have some surprising turns.
It does, yeah. So Mensa was founded October 1st, 1946.
Right after the war.
Exactly. In Oxford, England. And the founders were an Australian barrister, Roland Barrell, and a British scientist and lawyer named Lancelot Ware. Their original idea was, well, quite idealistic, really. They wanted a society for the most intelligent people, completely non-political, totally free from social distinctions, race, religion, background. None of that mattered.
Just the IQ score.
Just the IQ score. That was the sole qualification.
An aristocracy of the intellect, I think I read somewhere. That sounds lofty.
It does. But here's where it gets really interesting. Like you said, both founders apparently became quite disillusioned later on.
Oh, how so?
Well, Barrell, who had this vision of an intellectual elite, was apparently disappointed that most members actually came from, working class or lower middle class homes, not the kind of established intellectuals he maybe pictured.
And Ware?
Ware apparently expressed frustration that, quote, so many members spend so much time solving puzzles.
So not exactly debating philosophy and solving world hunger then.
Not always, it seems. It really highlights this kind of tension, doesn't it, between this grand idea of an intellectual elite directing society and the reality of what smart people actually enjoy doing together. Maybe it's just connecting over shared hobbies, even puzzles.
That's a fascinating clash. Does intelligence mean solving big problems, or is finding community around shared interests, whatever they are, just as valid?
Exactly. And maybe that early tension shaped how Mensa grew. Speaking of growth, American Mensa became the second major branch fairly early on, largely thanks to a woman named Margot Seidelman.
Right. So that's the origin story. How does that translate to today's structure? How does this massive global thing actually, work?
Okay, zooming out to the present day. Mensa International has around 150,000 members.
Wow, 150,000.
Yep, spread across more than 90 countries. And within that, 48 countries have their own recognized national groups, so it's a big network.
And some of those national groups are huge, right? Like American Mensa.
Exactly. American Mensa is the largest, over 50,000 members. Then you've got Mensa Germany, around 18,000 plus, and British Mensa, which includes the UK and Ireland, also about 18,000.
So quite concentrated in some areas.
Yeah.
What if you're in a country without one of those 48 national groups?
You can still join Mensa International directly, so location isn't necessarily a barrier.
Okay.
And then within the big national groups, like the U.S. one, they often subdivide further into local groups. American Mensa has, I think, 134 local groups.
That many.
Yeah, and they vary a lot in size. Some have over 2,000 members, others fewer than 100. It helps create that more local community feel.
Right. Makes sense. But what about connecting based on interest, not just where you live? You mentioned puzzles earlier.
Yes. That's where the SIGs come in, special interest groups.
Okay.
These are a really key part of Mensa life. They operate at all levels, international, national, local, and they cover just about anything you can think of.
Like what? Give me some examples.
Oh, gosh. Motorcycle clubs, groups for entrepreneurs, specific hobbies, academic interests. Pretty much anything members want to connect over.
A high IQ motorcycle club. That definitely breaks the stereotype.
It certainly does. And for people who prefer online interaction, there are also e-SIGs, electronic SIGs, which are mostly run through email lists. So lots of ways to connect.
It's very flexible.
Yeah.
And how do they communicate officially? Are there magazines or something?
Yes, most national groups publish their own periodicals. American Mensa has the Mensa Bulletin. British Mensa has Mensa Magazine.
Okay.
And there's also the Mensa Foundation. That's actually a separate U.S. charity. They publish the Mensa Research Journal.
Oh, a research journal. What's that about?
It focuses specifically on research related to intelligence. And interestingly, unlike most Mensa publications, that one is available to non-members too. So its reach goes beyond the organization itself.
Interesting. Okay, so there's structure, publications. But what about actual get-togethers, face-to-face stuff? Are there big conferences or events?
Oh, absolutely. Mensa puts on all sorts of events, from very casual local meetups to really big international gatherings.
Okay, what's the main big one?
The biggest is usually the annual gathering, or AG. Each national group might have its own, and they hold it in a different city each year.
Right.
They're usually packed with activities, speakers, dances, workshops on leadership, things for kids, and yeah, lots and lots of games.
And the American AG, I think I read that's often around the 4th of July.
That's right. Typically ties in with American Independence Day. It makes for a big celebration.
And besides the national ones, are there even bigger, regional ones?
Yep. In Europe, there's the EMAG, the European Mensa Annual Gathering. That's been running since 2008, and it rotates through different European cities each year.
Okay.
And similarly, there's the AMAG, the Asia Pacific Mensa Annual Gathering, which moves between host countries in that region. Places like Australia, the Philippines, New Zealand, South Korea have all hosted.
So it really is a global calendar of events then.
Definitely underscores their commitment to connecting members everywhere.
And just circling back to the U.S. for a second, that mind games competition, that sounds fun.
Yeah, the Mensa Mind Games. American Mensa has sponsored that annually since 1990.
And they pick winning games.
They do. They give out the Mensa Select Award to 5 board games each year that they judge to be original, challenging, and well-designed.
So maybe Lancelot Ware's comment about puzzles wasn't entirely off the mark then. Seems games are still a big part of it.
Seems so. A popular way for members to engage, for sure.
All this discussion about events and activities really makes you wonder, who are these members? What does the demographic picture actually look like? Is it all older academics or?
That's a great question. And the reality is quite diverse. One really fascinating thing is that all national Mensa groups accept members under 18.
Children, really?
Absolutely. And many offer specific resources for gifted kids and their parents' activities, newsletters, support networks.
Wow. So how young are we talking?
Well, there have been some incredibly young members. Cash Request was the youngest American member at one point. Adam Kirby, the youngest British member.
Okay.
Several kids in Australia joined when they were just 2 years old.
2?
Yep. The record holders for the absolute youngest to ever join, I believe, are Elise Tan Roberts in the UK and Miranda Elise Margolis in the US. Both joined at 2 years and 4 months old.
That's mind-boggling. A toddler in Mensa.
It is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And more recently, in 2018, there was a boy named Mehul Garg, 10 years old, who scored the maximum possible score, 162, on the Mensa IQ test.
Incredible. But it's not all child prodigies, right?
Right. Oh, not at all. Mensa really spans the whole age range. American Mensa says its members range in age from 2 to 102.
2 to 102.
And British Mensa apparently had a member who was 103 back in 2014. So truly intergenerational.
That's a massive spectrum.
Yeah.
Do we have any more detailed breakdown, like from American Mensa, maybe?
Yes, the 2023 demographics for American Mensa give a pretty good picture, and it really pushes back against that stereotype of the lone genius, you know?
Okay, lay it on me.
So generationally, about 8% are from the silent generation, 37% baby boomers, 30% Gen X, 10% millennials, 12% Gen Z, and about 3% other or unknown.
So boomers and Gen X make up the bulk, but good representation across the board.
Pretty much. And gender-wise, 64% male, 32% female, 3% unknown, and then less than 1% identifying as gender nonconforming or other.
So roughly 2/3 male, 1/3 female. Still a bit of a skew, but perhaps more balanced than some might expect.
Perhaps. But overall, what these numbers really show is that Mensa has become this kind of melting pot, hasn't it? Different generations, different backgrounds. It suggests high IQ fosters community, not just, individual brilliance in isolation.
Yeah, that's a really good point. So we've kind of journeyed through the whole world of Mensa here. From those surprising origins and that symbolic name, the Table of Equals, right up to its global reach today and its really diverse membership.
Yeah, absolutely. And to kind of bring it together, Mensa really functions as this unique hub, doesn't it? It's a place for people with this specific cognitive trait to connect, to engage, explore interests they share, crossing borders and backgrounds that might otherwise separate them.
A community built around shared ability, not necessarily shared background or even shared goals, beyond connection itself.
Exactly. It's not about prestige in the way the founders maybe initially thought, but about that shared cognitive level.
Which brings us to a final thought, something for you, the listener, to maybe mull over.
Yeah.
Given that contrast between the founders' original vision, that aristocracy of the intellect, and what Mensa actually is today, with its diverse members doing everything from solving puzzles to riding motorcycles, what does that tell us about what intelligence really means in our world? And how does a society like Mensa end up shaping or maybe just reflecting our understanding of it?